What if nothing could shake you? Not the loss, not the betrayal, not the failure that kept you up at night. We all face moments where life seems to slip out of our hands, where no matter what we do, things fall apart. And in those moments, most people react the same way. They panic, they overthink, they lose themselves. But there is a group of people who respond differently. People who stay calm when everything around them is chaos. People who seem untouchable, not because their life is easy, but because they have trained their minds to handle whatever comes. These people are not superhuman. They simply follow a set of principles developed over 2,000 years ago by some of the greatest thinkers in history. This philosophy is called Stoicism. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the 10 most powerful lessons from Stoic philosophy that will help you stay calm and in control, no matter what life throws at you. Stay until the end, because lesson 7 is the one that changed everything for me. Before we begin, go to the comments right now and write, "I choose peace over reaction." This is not just a comment, it is a declaration to yourself, because when you write it, you make it real. Lesson 1. Understand what you can and cannot control. This is the foundation of everything in Stoic philosophy, and it comes from Epictetus, a man who was born into slavery and became one of the most influential philosophers in history. Epictetus taught that everything in life falls into one of two categories: things that are in our power and things that are not in our power. What is in your power? Your thoughts, your intentions, your reactions, your choices. These belong entirely to you. What is not in your power? The weather, the economy, what other people think of you, whether or not you get the promotion, whether someone loves you back. None of these are in your control. Here is the problem. Most people spend the majority of their mental energy on the second list. They worry about things they cannot change. They obsess over the opinions of others. They lose sleep over situations they have no power to influence. And the result? Anxiety, frustration, exhaustion. The Stoic practice asks you to do something very different, to identify clearly what belongs to you and what does not, to give your full energy to what you can control, and to release everything else with acceptance. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering over things that were never yours to fix in the first place. Try this today. When something disturbs your peace, ask yourself one simple question: is this in my control? If yes, take action. If no, breathe, accept, and move forward. That single habit will change your life more than anything else in this video. Lesson 2. Your mind is your greatest empire. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on earth. He commanded the Roman army. He governed millions of people. He had more wealth and authority than almost anyone in history. And yet, in his private journal, the book we know today as the Meditations, he wrote again and again about one thing above all others: the importance of governing his own mind. Because Marcus understood something that most powerful people never do. You can control an empire and still be enslaved by your own thoughts. You can have everything the world offers and still be ruled by fear, anger, and insecurity. The Stoics called the ruling part of the mind the hegemonikon, the seat of reason and judgment, and they believed that the person who governs that inner space is truly free, regardless of their external circumstances. Think about that for a moment. No matter what is happening around you, no one can enter your mind without your permission. No one can force you to feel something you choose not to feel. No one can take away your ability to choose your response. Your mind is the one place where you are always sovereign. So the question becomes, are you governing it wisely? Or are you letting every outside event, every negative comment, every piece of bad news take the wheel? Start treating your mind like the most important territory you will ever protect. Because it is. Lesson 3. The obstacle is the way. Here is a Stoic idea that sounds strange the first time you hear it, but once it lands, it changes the way you see every challenge in your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words in the Meditations: "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In simple terms, this means that the obstacle in front of you is not blocking your path. It is the path. Think about a time when something blocked you. A rejection, a failure, a plan that completely fell apart. Most people stop at that point. They ask why this happened to them. They feel like victims of their circumstances. The Stoic response is completely different. It does not ask why this happened. It asks what this makes possible. Because every obstacle contains information. Every failure teaches something. Every door that closes redirects you towards something you would never have found otherwise. This is not positive thinking for its own sake. It is a practical philosophy for turning difficulty into fuel. The next time you face a setback, try asking yourself this question. What is this obstacle asking me to become? Not what is this taking from me, but what is this teaching me? What is it building in me? That shift in perspective is the difference between someone who is crushed by difficulty and someone who is forged by it. Lesson 4. Practice negative visualization. This one might seem counterintuitive, but it is one of the most practical and powerful tools in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics practiced something called premeditatio malorum, which translates as the premeditation of evils, or more simply, the deliberate imagination of loss. Here is how it works. Before you sleep, or in a quiet moment during the day, you take a few minutes to imagine losing what you value most, the people you love, your health, your work, your home, not to torture yourself, but to remember. Because here is what happens when we take things for granted. We stop appreciating them. The people around us become ordinary. The comforts of our daily life become invisible, and we waste enormous amounts of time chasing things we think will make us happy while ignoring the things that already do. When you imagine losing something, even briefly, something shifts. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The people you see every day become precious again. The simple fact of being healthy, of having a roof, of having people who care about you, stops being background noise and becomes the center of everything. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote that we have everything we need, but we do not know it because we never stop to realize it. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself this: if I lost one of the things I love most, would I have paid more attention today? Let your answer guide you tomorrow. Lesson 5. Virtue is the only true good. This lesson is where Stoicism becomes radical, and I want you to sit with it, because it goes against almost everything modern culture teaches us. The Stoics believed that all external things, money, fame, health, success, beauty, reputation, are what they called preferred indifference, things that are nice to have, but not the source of a good life. The only true good, they said, is virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, self-discipline, character, not what you own, not what you achieve. Who you are. I know this sounds idealistic, but look around you and test it against reality. The wealthiest people in the world are not necessarily the happiest. The most famous are not the most at peace, and some of the most content, most grounded, most genuinely fulfilled people you will ever meet have very little by external standards, because they have something that cannot be bought or taken away. They have integrity. They have clarity about who they are and how they want to live. They do not need external validation to feel secure. The Stoics were not saying that money and success are bad. They were saying that if you make those things the source of your identity and your happiness, you will always be one setback away from falling apart. But if your foundation is your character, nothing can shake it. Ask yourself tonight, not what did I achieve today? Ask, who was I today? How did I show up for the people around me? Where did I act with courage? Where did I compromise what I know is right? That is the ledger that actually matters. Lesson 6. You are not your emotions. You are what you do with them. There is a common misunderstanding about Stoicism. People think it is about suppressing emotions, about being cold, detached, unfeeling. That is not Stoicism. That is avoidance. Epictetus was very clear about this. The goal is not to eliminate emotion. It is to master it, to stop being governed by it. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a space. That space is where your freedom lives, and the practice of Stoicism is the practice of widening that space. Anger will come, grief will come, fear will come. These are not signs of weakness. They are part of being human. They are information about what matters to you. But there is a difference between feeling an emotion and being controlled by it, between noticing anger and acting from it, between feeling fear and letting it make your decisions. The Stoic does not suppress the storm. He learns to stand in it without being swept away. Here is a simple practice you can start today. The next time a strong emotion arises, before you say or do anything, pause, take one breath, and name what you are feeling without judgment. I am angry. I am afraid. I am hurt. That single act of naming the emotion creates a tiny moment of separation between you and it. And in that moment, you get to choose. That is the beginning of mastery. Lesson 7. Amor, Fati. Love what happens. This is the lesson I told you about at the beginning, the one that, for me, changed everything. Amor, Fati. It is a Latin phrase that translates as love of fate, and it is one of the most radical ideas in all of philosophy. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who was deeply inspired by the Stoics, called it his formula for greatness: not accepting what happens, not tolerating it, loving it. Here is what this means in practice. Everything that has ever happened to you, every loss, every failure, every disappointment, every wound that still hurts, was necessary to bring you to this exact moment, not because the universe is always kind, not because things always work out, but because you are still here, still breathing, still capable of growing. The Stoics believed that the world operates according to a rational order they called the Logos, and within that order, nothing is wasted, not even the worst things that happen to us. Your suffering was not a mistake. Your struggle was not a punishment. They were the specific pressures required to shape the specific person you are becoming. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, "Love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own. Not the hand you wish you had, not the hand you think you deserve, the one you actually have." Stop waiting to love your life once it looks different. Love it now, exactly as it is, with everything that is missing and everything that is hard. That is not weakness. That is the most courageous thing a person can choose to do. Lesson 8. Live according to your nature. The Stoics had a guiding principle they called kata phusin, which means according to nature. This did not mean living in the forest or rejecting the world. It meant something much more personal and much more practical. It meant asking yourself, what kind of human being am I capable of being? And then closing the gap every single day between who you are right now and that person. The Stoics believed that human beings are naturally rational, naturally social, and naturally purposeful, that we are at our best when we are thinking clearly, contributing to others, and living in alignment with our deepest values. And when we are not doing those things, when we are living against our nature, we feel it. We feel the dissonance, the restlessness, the sense that something important is being ignored. The practice here is not about perfection. The Stoics were very clear about that. No one lives perfectly according to their nature all the time. What matters is direction. The consistent, daily effort to move toward the person you know you are capable of being. Ask yourself tonight, what does the best version of me look like? What does that person do in the morning? How do they treat other people? What do they refuse to compromise on? And then ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do tomorrow to close the gap between who I am now and that person? One choice at a time, that is how character is built. Lesson 9. Remember that you will die. I want you to stay with me on this one, because I know it sounds uncomfortable. The Stoics kept death close, not out of depression or morbidity, but out of clarity. Memento, Mori. It is a Latin phrase that means, remember that you will die. In ancient Rome, when a general returned from battle in a triumphant parade, a slave would stand behind him and whisper those words in his ear. Memento Mori. At the peak of glory, at the height of power, remember. because the Stoics understood something we tend to forget in modern life. Death is not the enemy of a good life. It is the boundary that gives life its meaning. Without an ending, nothing has weight. Without limits, nothing has value. If we had infinite time, every moment would be disposable. But we do not have infinite time. And holding that truth gently, not obsessively, but honestly, does something remarkable. It burns away the things that do not matter, the petty arguments, the grudges, the years spent doing work that means nothing to you, the time spent worrying about what people think, and it turns up the volume on what does matter. The people in front of you, the work that carries your name, the small acts of integrity you perform when no one is watching. Live today as if it were enough, because one day you will look back and it will have been the last one. Make it count. Lesson 10. The practice never ends. I want to be honest with you about something. Stoicism is not a destination. It is not a state you reach and then rest in for the rest of your life. It is not a one-time transformation that happens after watching a video or reading a book. It is a practice. Daily, imperfect, relentless. Marcus Aurelius wrote the Meditations for himself, not for us. It was never meant to be published. It was his private journal, the notes he wrote every day to remind himself of the principles he was trying to live by. And what is remarkable about the Meditations is how often he is reminding himself of the same things, over and over again. Patience, virtue, release what you cannot control. Choose your response wisely. Even the most powerful man in the world, even someone who had studied philosophy his entire life, had to come back to these ideas every single day. Because the practice never ends. And that is not a failure. That is the point. Every time you lose your calm, that is information. Every time fear wins, that is a direction. Every time you choose comfort over what you know is right, that is an invitation to do better next time. Epictetus said it simply: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. That is the whole practice in one sentence. Not perfection, not some final state of enlightenment, just the daily decision to show up, to choose wisely, and to keep going. That is the ViaStoica, the Stoic path. And it begins exactly where you are right now. If this video brought you something today, subscribe to ViaStoica. Every week, we go deeper into the ancient wisdom that actually works in real life. And before you go, write in the comments the one lesson from this video that hit you the hardest. I read every comment, and your words help build this community. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. They wrote these words 2,000 years ago. They still work today. See you on the path.